Welcome to Branding Room Only, the podcast where your personal brand gets a front row seat. I'm Paula Edgar, and if you're here, it's because you know your brand isn't just about what you do. It's about how people experience you. In each episode, you'll hear stories, strategies, and lessons from leaders and influencers who built their brands and made their mark. And I'll share the tools you need to do the same. Let's go. Hi, everybody. It's Paula Edgar, and welcome back to the Branding Room. I am very excited for my conversation today. Let me tell you about my guest. Francesca Hogi is a love educator, coach, two-time TED speaker, and author of How to Find True Love, Unlock Your Romantic Flow, and Create Lasting Relationships. A former corporate lawyer, Francesca pivoted to matchmaking and coaching and never looked back. She's passionate about empowering others to have the love they deserve, inside and out. Francesca, welcome to the Branding Room.
Thank you so much for having me, Paula. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited for this conversation. I have been wanting to talk a lot more about love and how it impacts our brand. And so let's jump in. I want to know more about you first. What does personal brand mean to you, and how would you define it?
So I was thinking about this the other day. So Paul Bunson, who you know as well, he's the first person I ever heard talk about personal branding. Mm-hmm. And he always said that your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And which I think is such a great definition, and it's not the one that we typically use.
It's true, right? Because one thing, what you say something, it's another thing what sticks and what folks say about you. I love that.
Yeah, exactly. So what are you known for, right? Mm-hmm. What do people think of when they think of you? What I think you can see that in the kinds of invitations that you receive, the kinds of introductions that you receive. People say, oh, you've got to meet this person because of X, Y, Z. And sometimes I'm like, oh, perfect. And other times I'm like, I don't get it.
Right, exactly. Where was the disconnect? Well, how would you describe yourself in 3 words or short phrases?
Ooh, okay, good question. 3 words or short phrases. I think that just in terms of my brand or me, I mean, I guess it's kind of the same thing. It's the same thing.
Yes.
I'm very focused on empowerment, mm-hmm. right? So personally, I like to feel very empowered in my life. And that's something that I really try to convey through my work is a mm-hmm. sense of empowerment. Like, you are not helpless here. Also, I'm very curious. So in life, I'm always like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why they do it that way. And I've definitely translated that to my work with dating and with romantic relationships in general. And just like, well, where does this come from? Or why do we do it this way? Or, isn't that interesting that this person has this pattern? And what's at the root of that? And how can we break through that? So I think that curiosity is something that's very much a part of me. And also, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm kind of fun.
Now, the funny thing is in my head, I always have words for the people who, if I know them, I'm always like, okay, I know. But right as you said it, I was like thinking fun.
Oh, yay.
I love the alignment, empowerment, curiosity, and fun. All right. Do you have a favorite quote or motto that resonates for you right now?
Ooh, I mean, my kind of lifelong motto is a steady drip can bore a hole through a rock.
Ooh. Oh, okay. Let me write that down. Uh-huh. Oh, I can take that in so many different ways. But it's consistency, right? It's small efforts will get you big results.
Yeah. And determination, I think I think that's probably one of my superpowers is that I'm a very determined person. Yeah. And I'm patient. I'm like, if it's going to take me 10 years, that's just how long it's going to take me, but it's going to happen.
I love that. What about this? What's your hype song? So when they're going to get full franny on the stage, when you are going in and you mean business, what song is playing in your head? Or if you need to pick me up, what song are you using? And it can be the same song or different songs.
Okay. So I'm always, I'm a weirdo.
Okay, noted.
Because I don't generally like very upbeat songs. Okay. So to me, I'm like, I like sad songs. I'm like, I love a sad song. Give me a little night shift. Give me a little midnight train to Georgia. I want something melancholy. I want to feel the pain.
And at least hopefully be able to resonate and be like, that's not me right now, so it's fine. Like that should pick me up. It's like, oh, she's having a hard time, but I feel
I think even heartbreak to me is beautiful because it's like, oh, because it hurts because you loved them. Like, that's great.
That's such a wonderful way of reflecting on it. I need to be more positive. Okay, I like it. All right. So tell me about this. Where did you grow up and how do you think that shaped you?
Oh, goodness. Well, I grew up in New York City. I grew up in the Bronx and Manhattan, and it shaped me very much because as positive as I am, I also don't mess with me.
BX all day.
Because it can come out real quick.
Let them know.
But I think that in addition to that, because that is real. In addition to that, also, I think it gave me a sense of, one thing I really appreciate growing up in New York. Like, I really appreciate, I went to public school my whole life, and I always went to school with every kind of person. I had friends who lived in projects. I had friends who lived in penthouses and everything in between. Yeah. And I really appreciate that because I just understand. I think it's given me an understanding of people and an appreciation of people no matter where they come from. Like I remember when I went to college and my freshman roommate was like, oh, I've never met a Jewish person. And I'm like, wow, I'm so glad that there's no kind of person that I've never met, you know?
Yes. Also, projects to penthouse is like the perfect way of describing New York City.
Yeah.
Somebody that's a book or like a short story that needs to be written. And I agree with you. Although I grew up in New York City as well, in Brooklyn, and then I went to boarding school. I remember thinking, there's a ton of people who I have not met, a ton of things that I did not know, even though it was more about me being able to be open to having met them and what I've experienced from them when I was here. I was not sort of conscious to how much diversity we had here, especially socioeconomic. I was like, so going to boarding school, I was like, oh, this is different than what I have been used to, which I appreciate. Shout out to Deerfield Academy. Okay, so you started your career as a corporate lawyer, and then you made this major pivot into matchmaking, coaching, and love education. Can you walk us through that professional journey?
Yes. So I was one of those kids growing up. I hated when people would say, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, I hated that question. I'm like, can we stop asking children that question?
We really do need to stop.
And I hated it because I had no idea. It was just, I was like, I just had no idea. And all that I knew was that I wanted to have, and this is no offense to anyone, but this is just how my childhood mind thought of it, is I didn't want to have a quote, ordinary life. Like the idea of just like, you know, getting married, having kids, having a job, going to and from work every day. Like, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know what I'm not going to do. And in my just not knowing what to do, I had a lot of people say to me, you should think about law school because you can, you know, you're smart, you can do anything with a law degree. So I was like, okay, sure, I'll go to law school. So I went to law school not ever actually wanting to be a lawyer or caring about the law. I literally went to law school because I didn't know what else to do. And I enjoyed law school, by the way. And, but then I was a lawyer and I was like, oh, well, everybody said I could be anything, but now I'm a lawyer. And I looked around at the partners at my firm and I was like, I don't want their lives. I don't want their lives. And I realized if you don't want your boss's life, then you're in the wrong job.
Oh, there's a quote.
Right. And so I was like, okay, so it took me a while. So I stayed in the law for a few years initially, because I was like, well, I didn't know what else to do. And I had loans and I had a big salary and I had I was like, well, let me not be a total idiot here. But then let me tell you the shorter version of the story, because I actually, first time I left the law, I went into the movie business. Oh. So there was a whole other chapter. So I was in New York, working at a big firm in New York. After 4 years, I quit. I moved to LA and I started a film production company with one of my friends from law school. And I had this whole Hollywood chapter of my life.
Okay. I don't think I knew this.
And I know I don't talk about it that, and it was like, right. It was like 2004 to 2009.
Ooh.
So this was like, this was before Instagram. This was before, so this was like, you just got to live, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Remember those days?
I do.
We just got to live.
You didn't document everything. Yeah.
And not everything was documented. So that was my life for 5 years in LA. And I ran out of money because I wasn't making any money. I was like living off of my savings. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I got to make money, So I got sucked back into the law because I was like, I mean, I could go work at the Gap, but that seems like maybe not a good use of my time. I didn't know what, I was stuck, Paula. I didn't know what to do. So...
Okay, so you decided not against the Gap, and then where did you go?
So then I went back into the law, and I came back to New York because then I was in a relationship, and my partner was here, and so I got sucked back into New York, and then I went on Survivor, and then that was
we gotta pause. And then you went on Survivor.
Yes. I know. The only reason I went on Survivor, it was because I was at this time in my life where I was like, I don't know what to do. And I'm back practicing law, which I didn't want to do. And I was just like, the Survivor presented itself as an opportunity. And I was like, it's kind of like law school. I'm like, I don't really want to do it, but like, what else am I going to do? I was like, it's not my dream, but it's somebody's dream. So I should do this. So I went on Survivor, and that was a disaster. Went back to my same law job.
What was the disaster?
Well, Paula, funny you should ask.
Tell the people.
I was the first person voted off of my season, but it wasn't just a regular vote off. It was like spectacular fiasco situation. So then 2 years later, they invited me to come back for a second season. And again, I was like, I still don't want to do this, but I was in my same law job and I was still like waiting to shake things up in my life. I'm in my mid 30s at this point. Yeah. And I was like, all right, well, it can't be worse than the first time. Famous last words.
I'm going to say,
But as it turns out, it was actually worse than the first time. So after that, I was like, okay, universe, now this is a pattern. And I am so sick of not knowing what to do. Like I've been in this limbo for years, and I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know this isn't it. And I need to figure it out. And then also shortly after I came back for my second season, my brother died of a heart attack very suddenly, a week before his 40th birthday. Wow. And so I was like, oh, life is really like this is my actual life. Yeah. And what am I doing with it? And like, I was like, I could die tomorrow. Like, this is not, because, in life, you just feel like, oh, you got all this time and you feel like you're rehearsing for life. But it's like, no, this is your life, right? This is it. And so I went to a 4th of July barbecue. I met a woman at this barbecue who mentioned that she followed a black male matchmaker named Paula C. Bunson on Twitter. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Who? I took out my phone and I followed him on Twitter. And one thing that I should say before this is that actually when I was living in LA, the first time I lived in LA in my Hollywood years, I actually had a friend who started a blog called Interesting Black Women. And she invited me to contribute to the blog. And she said, you can write about the law. And I was like, oh, I'm not writing about the law in my spare time. And she's like, oh, you can write about whatever you want. I was like, okay, well, the only thing I could think that I would want to write about is dating. And she's like, okay, so write about dating. So I did have that inclination, right? And I had been on this long love journey of having to like teach myself how to date and going through all this drama and like wanting love. So love was a thing that was at the forefront of my life, right? So I started following Paul and I just liked what he had to say. And I was like, I really like this man. And I really related to him because he, he'd had an MBA and he was an investment banker, and he left that to start his matchmaking business.
Mm-hmm.
And one day he tweeted that he was going to be speaking at the Matchmaking Institute conference in New York. And I was like, I'm sorry, there's a what and a what?
Oh, yeah, conference. Oh, okay. Huh.
And I responded to his tweet and I said, I want to come. And he said, you should come. And I was like, okay, I'll take that as an invitation. And I went to this conference and I met all these people, including Paul, who were just regular people, but it was their job to help other people find love. And I was like, okay, what could be more rewarding than that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What could be more rewarding than that? Right. Because I liked the client service aspect of being a lawyer. Like I liked client has a problem, you solve problem. That part felt good. Mm-hmm. I just didn't care enough about the fact was my clients were all corporations.
That part.
So I was like, I mean, I want to help people solve problems, but I'm not anti-corporation. I'm just, that was not my ministry. Right. And I knew it. So I was like, oh, these are problems I can solve. This is something I can get excited about. And so that was the start. Okay. So first of all, that was probably one of my favorite detailing of career pivots ever. When people like think about personal branding, they think about their careers, they think about like LinkedIn, visibility, and like their reputation. But you focus on love and relationships. How do you see love and dating connected to personal branding? I love you, Paula. You're like, I got a question for you, girl.
Think about it. What do you think?
Well, this is how I think that they're connected. Mm-hmm. I think, and increasingly so, mm-hmm. because we live in a world where there is less and less separation mm-hmm. between who you are in your personal life and who you are in your professional life.
True. Mm-hmm.
And there used to be a time when that was not the case, right? There used to be a time where like you leave work at 5 o'clock and you could be nobody at work knows anything that you do in your personal life, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And those things could be very siloed. And so for me, I think, and that's also one of the reasons why, even though I worked in corporate America for a long time, mm-hmm. I was always a bit of a rebel because I was like, I can't just be what these people want me to be. I have to be myself. I don't know. I can't do anything else. I can't do anything else. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I was a little ahead of the curve on this because I'm just like, I've always been like, if you're my partner romantically, mm-hmm. you need to be able to be with my family. You need to be able to be with my friends. You mm-hmm. need to be able to be with my colleagues. You need to be like everybody needs to be together because I'm not cutting myself into pieces to be one person here and one person here and one person there. Mm-hmm. So I think that ideally we're all living our lives in a very holistic way mm-hmm. where when somebody asks you a question, like you asked me, like, can you describe yourself, in 3 words or 3 phrases, that your romantic partner would be like, yes, that's who they are. Mm-hmm. And the people you work with would be like, yes, that's who they are. Yes. And your friends would be like, yes, that's who they are. And you know what I mean? So So I think that's how we have better relationships is when we are bringing our full selves to everything. Mm-hmm. So for me, that answer is, wherever you go, there you are. So mm-hmm. bring your full self to every place that you go. Love it.
Do you think that the way we show up in dating reflects the way we see ourselves and our own worth?
Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah, that's where you're gonna find out. You're like you think you're so like confident and you think you like and then you start dating somebody and then all the insecurities come up and now you're like, okay, well they said they didn't like this and now should I change it and all of this. So I think yes, romantic love is very, very triggering mm-hmm. of our deepest insecurities, our beliefs about ourselves. It puts all of that, shines a spotlight on all of that, which is why it is one of the more fraught relationship dynamics that we experience because it is so deep and it brings up a lot of things that other types of relationships typically don't. Mm. And so they provide an amazing mirror and way for us to learn about ourselves. But yes, if you fundamentally believe that, you're not lovable or that you're too much or that it's going to take a miracle for anybody to love you or that people always let you down or that you always let people down or, all of the things that is so easy to believe in life, that is going to come into your dating experience, that is going to come into your romantic relationships. And it's going to I mean, I don't like to say these things like it's a matter of us being perfect, because we're not meant to be perfect. We're human. We're never going to be perfect because we're human. Right. So perfection is not the goal, but it is worth just looking at, okay, what is the baseline of my relationship with myself? Right. Like, do I actually see myself as somebody who deserves love, consistency, kindness, respect, or do I think I have to earn those things? Right. And even asking that question is such a powerful, it's actually a very loving thing to do, to even ask yourself those tough questions. Yeah. But it can feel very difficult. So I always preach the gospel of self-compassion. Yeah. Right. And which is an act of self-love, just to be, I'm just going to be compassionate towards myself. I'm going to be compassionately curious.
Ooh, I like that.
Right.
Curious.
So I call it self-compassionate curiosity. And I'm going to just ask myself, okay, isn't it interesting that every person I'm attracted to treats me like XYZ? Or isn't it interesting that all of my relationships, this same pattern plays out? Or isn't it interesting that I only like somebody until they like me, and now I don't like them anymore?
Yeah. First of all, I am being triggered on behalf of my listeners right now. I know. I'm like, oh no. I just think of some of the people and things that I've heard. I often will say two things. One, that I would be fraught if I had to date right now. Like, I'm not a dater. I've never been a dater. I've been a relationshiper. And and I've been married for 23 years. Yeah. And when I think about dating life now, I'm like, oh my gosh, because it's like you having to pitch yourself over and over and over again. And just that thought to me is like, oh no. Like, please choose me. Right? And then that's it. Like, I don't want to do other stuff. But when I think about this and how branding, because that's what we're talking about, but love shows up, it's what you see, right? Like the attraction part, and then what you learn when you have had the opportunity to interact and engage. And I do think, I want to hear what you think about this, that up front, people are trying to show their best selves, right? They're coming in with shiny, you're never going to see non-makeup Paula first. You're going to see makeup Paula first. What are your thoughts about sort of approaching, let's say somebody's on here and they're thinking about dating, like approaching the process of wanting to date and how they show up? Like, I don't know if there's a question there. It's just
there's a question. I understand what you're, I understand. Yeah. I'm picking up what you're putting down. So the idea that, like you said, you got to pitch yourself over again and over and over again. I do not think of dating that way.
Good.
I do not think of dating as you are going and now you're like, okay, I got to put my best foot forward and I got to like pitch myself and like make this person want me. And that is very much how we have been conditioned, especially as women. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. We have been conditioned to be chosen. And if your whole romantic identity is I need to be chosen, then you are going to see yourself as I'm always pitching myself. And I got to be made up and I got to be this and I got to be that. And like the number of women who'll say to me, because I'm very big on people meeting in real life organically, like as you live your life. Yeah. And the number of times women will say to me, but I wasn't looking cute. Like I saw this guy, but I wasn't looking cute. I'm like, what do you mean you weren't? You were you. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm like, actually, I think meeting somebody with no makeup on is a great way to meet somebody.
Especially if they still like you.
Okay. Like, why do you want it? Like, I'm like, you don't, anyway, I could go on about that. I'm like, why would you hold yourself back and think like, oh, if I'm not made up, then I can't meet somebody? What? Why? You're still you. You're still beautiful. Your makeup doesn't make you beautiful. That's just putting a bow, right? Facts. And then one day he's going to see you with makeup on and he's going to be like, oh, look at you. And it's going to be great. Who cares? You got a bow on, right? So I think even just, one of the reasons, and like in my book, I start with mindset, because how we even think about love is going to dictate so much of what happens after that, right? So if you think about love as I have to be chosen, now you are centering what other people think of you more than you're centering being yourself, right? So you can absolutely do that, but what kinds of relationship dynamics is that going to lead to? And who are the kinds of people that are going to be a fit for that? Because if you are a woman who thinks you need to be chosen, then you're going to be with a man who thinks he chose you. Therefore, you need to be grateful. And therefore, you're the one who has to keep proving your worth here.
I'm sorry. Clearly I did not know it was going to turn into a therapy session. But I just think about young Paula, and when I was in different relationships, I was in the space of wanting to be chosen.
Yeah, me too.
And your point about societally as women, that's kind of how we are conditioned. And imagine how freeing it would be to just be like, I should be chosen. I am the person. I don't need to be chosen. Like, I'm just showing up as my best self.
I choose me. I choose myself. Exactly. And now I get to find somebody who, do I want him?
That.
Like, I'm the prize. So like, do I want him? Do we choose each other?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, even as confident as I am, and my father will tell you I always have been, that my mother was killed in 9/11. And the day before she was killed, she said, you stop wasting your time with this guy that you're dating. Like, it was literally the last thing she said to me.
Wow.
And it took her saying that for me to be able to say, let me let go of my ego, because that was and my pride, and just shut down this thing that I knew was not working for me because I had been chosen.
Yeah.
You know? And so when it really resonates to thinking about choosing yourself first, and then people then come to you. And to your point about when you're losing your brother and knowing that life is short, as soon as I had that pivot, like having lost my mother, I was like, I cannot live life in a way that's frivolous, because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And it was literally then that I think soul opened and my husband came back into my life. Like, it was literally that, to say like, oh, now I have chosen myself. I'm going to go gallivant and do all the things. Yeah. And then he came into my life. And we, particularly folks, I think, who have been, and our lawyers, and a lot of my audience lawyers, we have control issues. Like, we're control people. We want to have it the way we want to have it. And there's a freedom, I think, in letting go and seeing what happens, but also being intentional. And when I think about the dating process and even the love matchmaking, do you start with, you said you start with the self, but is it that you are also setting intentions for what it is you're trying to get out of the situation? Or maybe I should ask a better question, which is, walk me through my process. If I'm going to come to you and I'm like, Fanny, I need a man. Then what? What happens to me?
Yeah. I mean, so first to be like, okay, we'll paint a picture, right?
Of the man?
Yeah. Like I actually say, if I had a magic wand,
yes,
and I could just give you anybody you wanted, any relationship, type of relationship you wanted, what would that look like? And so let's start there, right?
It just next.
And that part is usually pretty easy for people, because then it's like, oh, a magic wand, right? Yeah. And then it's like, okay, well, now that we have the magic wand scenario, let's actually talk about how many of these things are truly a priority for you, right? And sometimes it's like all of them. That's it. I gave you the list. But I always say the list you can have 1,000 things on your list that you want in a partner.
Yes,
and that's fine. But first of all, you can't not prioritize them equally. Yeah. Okay, because that's not a real person.
So Idris Elba's not going to be like.
Right. They're like, Idris Elba, but make him a billionaire and a rocket scientist and this and and it's like, guess what? Doesn't work that way. You can't prioritize them all equally. And I always have my clients go through everything on that list and one by one and say why they want that, what that has to do with the relationship that they want.
Ooh. I can imagine that being a little bit challenging.
And because again, and I'm not judging your answer. I just want you to be able to articulate for yourself why that is important. Yeah. Yeah. And oftentimes when you start doing that, you start realizing, first of all, I'm making some assumptions here. Like, I mean, like the simplest answer, I've heard this a million times, is women, because everybody wants the tall man. Right. And to varying degrees, of tall. Someone's like, he's got to be at least 6 feet. Someone's like, got to be at least 6'2". Someone's like, I want him 6'4". I mean, I've heard it all. And so I say, okay, well, why? Just tell why. And they'll usually say, well, because first they'll say, well, then I can wear heels. I'm like, well, you could wear heels anyway, right? Just okay. But usually they'll say something like, well, then I'll feel feminine.
Oh.
Right. It's like, okay, we'll put a pin in that. We're coming back to that one. Or they'll say, then he'll be able to protect me. Those are the main things that I hear. Okay.
So there's no 6-foot punks out there.
I'm like, okay, so is it objectively true that all men who are above 6 feet tall are protective of women?
Right. It's not true. Let's just right. Right. Yes.
And is it true that all men who are under 6 feet are not protective of women?
Right.
So if you actually want a man who's protective, then say you want a man who's protective.
Ooh.
Because if you're chasing a height, using the height as a proxy for protection, what are you doing?
I know some of y'all are shaking your head right now. I could just see people are like, oh no. Oh no, but
and the point is, my point is not that it means that I'm saying you got to go be with somebody who's 5'2". That's not even the point of what I'm saying. The point is to start to think about what am I actually prioritizing that has to do with the relationship that I want to have with this person.
Right.
Because it's very easy to get caught up on the list. I want somebody who looks like all this and has all these things and this level of education and this level of money. Yeah. But what is the actual relationship that you want to have with that person? Because, money is another thing. Oh, if he makes X amount of money, then he won't be intimidated by my money, or then he'll be generous, or that I'm like, I'm sorry. First of all, these numbers tend to be pretty random. Like 250 that's like everybody's number right now.
Is it?
Everybody's like, I want a man who makes $250,000 a year. I'm like, okay. Anyway, and then I'm like, okay, well, why? And then a lot of times you'll see that they actually don't even understand what that translates into like real dollars. But that's another conversation.
And do they live in New York? Because that means they still don't have any money.
They're like, oh, because then I could get this, and then I could get, and I'm like, if you understand about taxes, and don't you want a man who has some like sense about himself financially, so he's not spending every dime he makes?
Yes.
Optimally. Right.
Savings are good.
There's savings, there's investments, there's So like, and that's even that, it's like, even if you're focused, even if the man makes $25 million, there are plenty of people who've made $25 million who've gone broke.
So
it's really easy to go broke at $25 million because you feel like you have so much money, you can buy everything. Right. And so even the money thing, it's like, okay, so what you're telling me, because when we really talk about it, it's like, you want a man who, first of all, is financially stable, which is not necessarily tied to his income. Right.
Right.
Yeah. And you want a man who's responsible with money, which again is not tied to his income. And you want a man who's not intimidated by your success, which is not tied to his income.
Yeah. Yes.
In any way, shape, or form.
I can tell that this process is one. People really have to come it sounds very like I can imagine people walking away with it like, damn, I hadn't thought about the things, right? Like, and I can just already think to myself, just the couple questions that you've even shared take you to a place of self-reflection and self-awareness that we often don't sit in. Yeah. Right. So,
yeah. And it's not our fault because we get romantic love. We get all this conditioning. It's supposed to be this magical, perfect thing. Yes. This person is supposed to rescue you. We all grew up with the fairy tales and the rom-coms and all of the advertising and all the marketing that's told us. And by the way, as women, it wasn't very long ago where you did need a man who was going to provide for you financially, who was good, and all of those things. And I'm not saying, I've never dated a broke man. Okay. So I don't even understand that. That's another.
Flex on us. Why don't you?
So my point is not, you got to date a broke man. Okay.
LOL. And having standards is important.
That is not my point. But also, what's also interesting though is that I've never dated a broke man, and I've never in my mind ever been like, I need to date a man with money. Never said that. I've never said that.
Yeah. Yes.
Because what I did say was like, I need to date a man who does something meaningful in the world that he cares about.
Yeah.
I need to date a man who's responsible. I need to date a man who has his shit together, if I can say that on this podcast. Right? I need, you know what I mean? Like, I need to date a man who has his own passions, who's very smart. To me, like, you've got to be, I always need a man who's so smart that I'm like, wow, how does your brain work? Like, I'm fascinated, right?
What is it? Sapiosexual, right?
Yes. And it turns out that when those men tend to be successful in life.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also it speaks to what your values are for you, right? And what you're looking for. And I like that you parse it out as opposed to like, yes, the checklist is a thing, but getting underneath the checklist is a much more important, I think, exercise for those of you out there who are listening. But
also, it eliminates the sense of scarcity that you can feel when you're just focused on, he's got to make this much money and he's got to be this tall and he's got to have, and then it's like, yeah, there aren't that many people who meet that exact criteria.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
But if you're like, but I actually want to be with somebody who is responsible, who adores me, who supports me, who we have great conversations, who we can have, then it's like, oh, okay, now we're opening up the possibility, right?
Yes.
Like we can start to imagine, okay, there are people in this world who can do that, who can be that partner for me.
What are some of the mistakes that people make when they're dating? What are some of your favorite mistakes that you see or have heard of or are frustrated by in dating?
I mean, I think I actually just recorded a video about this morning, which is people lacking discernment. Period. And really just leaving a lot of, I think there's a lot of people who, I see that there are a lot of people who accept a lot of confusion and like just things that don't feel right in dating in the name of being open, or they like this person and they want it to work out. So they're just going to keep going, even though things are not adding up. Contradictions are being made, you know, like, but then it's like, but I'm going to hang in there and I want to figure out and I want to get the answers. And so I see a lot of people wasting their own time because they are accepting, like you shouldn't be confused. You shouldn't be confused.
Either they're interested or they're not.
I mean, either, and it's, I don't even want to say about interest or not, because again, as women, we're like, oh, but I know he likes me.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when we're together, he may be in love with you. Right.
We're together.
But if he cannot show up with consistency. Yeah. Right. If he can't say, if you know that you want a committed relationship and he doesn't want that, or he doesn't know if he wants that, or if, you know, all of the things, like you have to look at the reality of the situation. It's not just about how somebody feels about you. It's about how they treat you. And it's about the quality of the relationship that you have with that person.
There's a clip right there. It's so true. I know so many people who want love and will take less, will settle for less because the desire to be loved overrides the common sense of how they want to be treated in the world. And so, Okay, what else?
It's really common. So I'd say, so that, you know, not being discerning, also just not listening to your intuition. That's the other thing. That's another problem when you're very attached to a list. Yeah. Is that you start to override your intuition in any way. Like you might meet somebody and they aren't everything on the list and there's something there, but you're like, no, because they're not what I'm looking for. Right?
You're blocking your own blessings.
You're blocking your own blessings. And by the way, I have done this. I get it. I have totally done this. I had a list back when I was a young lawyer. I had my list and this is who he needed to be. And one of the things for me was that he needed to be Black. I was like, I'm only dating Black men. Yes. And I had non-Black men who were like, hi, I like you. I want to take you out to dinner. I want to get to know you better. And I'm like, no. And I'm like chasing after.
Do you have a Black best friend?
And I'm like chasing after this guy who's like, he's like, I got 10 women to choose from. I don't know. Maybe you're one of the roster. We'll see what happens, right? And I'm not saying, this is not to say all white men are, I'm not saying that. But my point was that that's an example of how I had to look at it to be like, wait, you know what? That guy actually really liked me. Like, and he really tried to date me. And I really would not even consider it. Yeah. Because I just automatically he wasn't Black and therefore I wasn't, you know. So I think you just have to start to ask yourself, what are some of the ways in which I'm shutting things off without actually taking the person as like for who they are and just evaluating them for who they are versus like the idea of who I think I should be with.
Ooh,
right.
Sorry, y'all. I know that hurt.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people in relationships with people who they're like, oh, I never would have thought this is the kind of person that I would be with. But I could not be happier, right?
Raising my hand, y'all.
Right? I could not be happier. Like, true. I thought I needed XYZ. Turns out, this is exactly what I need. So I believe that true love is available to every single person who desires it. I truly believe that. But does it look the way that every single person has been conditioned to think that it looks? No. Yeah.
We are in a loneliness crisis.
We are.
Post-COVID, just because we have all these gadgets, like people aren't people in the way that they used to people because they'd be outside, et cetera. And in my side gig as love coach, Paula, I tell people who are looking to date, I'm like, you know, you got to go outside. Like, you have to be outside in order to meet the folks. What are some of the things, besides not assessing correctly or deeply enough, that people are doing currently that you're seeing patterns of that are impacting their dating options? Yeah.
I mean, this is the other video that I recorded this morning.
We're aligned. Look at that. We're aligned.
I think people are leaving so much opportunity on the table just by being overly dependent on dating apps. Ugh. Like the number of people who say to me, I want to date, but I don't want to be on a dating app. I'm like, then date. Why are we like dating app? Why are we should not be giving any technology platform this much power over your love life. A dating app that makes money the longer that you are single and on the app. That's who you're putting in charge of your dating life. We can't do that, people.
And let's just keep it all the way real. From a brand perspective, when I have looked at some people who want to date, their profiles on these dating apps, I'm like, so you want to date? Why? You want people to, because again, it's literally a pick me. But I have found people have been so terrible at the pictures that they choose, so bad at the answers to the questions. So bad. Right? It's like, what?
I know. Most people are so bad at it.
Yes.
They're so bad at it. And some of them are bad at it in the way of like, you know, these are horrible pictures or what are you even saying? Some people are bad in that way. Those are mostly men.
Yes. Agree.
Men are really bad at this. The number of men who I've been like, I am taking new pictures of you right now.
Today.
We're not doing anything else. Because what is this?
I have snatched the phone or two in my day to be like, hello.
I mean, it's like, it's crazy.
So there's that on your shoulder that you cut them off. So now I'm thinking you're dating somebody.
And they're just like, they just need to see what I look like. They don't care. I'm like, yes, they do care. What kind of serial killer photos are these? So that's mostly men, but I see a lot of women because of the pick me conditioning. If I were to look at women who are coming to me, women who are coming to you, women who are looking for a serious committed partnership.
Yes.
Their profiles are indistinguishable from somebody who's looking for a hookup.
Yes. Especially in the pictures.
That's a problem.
I mean, that is so clutch, what you're saying right now. I just, it really is. I'm reflecting on this because I have, obviously I leave the paid services to people who do this, but I want people who I love to be loved. And so when I say like, oh, let me see your profile. And I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. Or why did you choose that picture? Or girl, do you know what? And it's both men and women who I have done this with in terms of my friend group. And it really is a result, I think, of how social media has become a thing for us, so that we are so used to putting out X and saying things. But my thought about it is that when you mess it up, if you had a choice, and this is a choice that you're making, then I'm thinking you're choosing to show up like this. I definitely don't want to talk to you or reach out to you because this is what you're choosing. So that self-awareness and that self-love and the being thoughtful about what how you're showing up in terms of branding is so important if you're choosing to be on an app. But I'm encouraging y'all to go outside.
Yeah, go outside. Go outside. I call it the meet cute mindset, which is the belief that every time you leave your house, you have the potential to meet someone special.
Yes.
You do.
I love that.
You do. And so if you can embrace that, then how might that change how you show up in the world?
Better outfits, y'all. Come on.
Maybe better outfits, maybe just better outfits if that's going to give you the confidence to be open. Right. But I don't think that anybody needs to be dolled up.
Right.
So,
just think I might meet the person today. Like, I don't need you to be, but I think that might make you want a little pep in your step.
Yeah. And if it makes you say, okay, well, I'm going to put on some red lipstick, then okay, cute. Go for your red lipstick, right? And be like, oh, I'm going to wear this dress, this outfit that makes me feel great. Do that. I want everybody to do what makes them feel good every single day.
Right.
But it's more about a mindset of like, okay, well, then what do you do if you were at the supermarket and you saw somebody who looked interesting to you, who looked attractive, who looked intriguing? What would you do? And a lot of times the answer is I wouldn't do anything, or I would hope that they notice me, or I would hope that they approach me. And so then what I like to say is to say, this is a little hypothetical challenge I like to give people.
Okay.
Imagine that I am a benevolent billionaire. Okay.
I like it already. Go ahead.
And I want to motivate you to have the love that you want. So I'm going to give you $1 million for every person who you go on a date with that you meet organically in your life, off of an app, just going in person over the next 30 days. How much money are you getting?
Oh, y'all, I know that some people just felt that oof just now because y'all were like $5. We're going to have exactly $5. Now, I can imagine people who are self-professed introverts thinking, I can't do that.
Okay, I got something for the introverts. So being introverted is a bonus in flirting. Okay, because people who are very extroverted sometimes have the problem of, because they're so extroverted and their extroversion really comes across. So when they're like giving somebody attention, it doesn't feel special.
That's
because ultimately, like, the foundation of flirting is to make another person feel seen, special, and acknowledged. That's the foundation. You can label on top of that, desirable. You can layer on top of that desired by you specifically. But just when we're talking about this foundational element, do I know how to make another person feel seen, special, and acknowledged? And people who are very extroverted do that so well that it doesn't necessarily feel special if they're talking to you. Whereas if somebody is more introverted, but they still say hi, or they still say, wow, those are cool shoes, or whatever they say, it's like, oh, it's going to feel special because you can feel that person made an effort.
So is that what you should say? Hey, those are cool shoes.
I mean, I really do love, everybody should watch my most recent TED Talk, How to Unlock Your Flirting Superpowers.
It's going to be in the show notes. We're going to have it.
But compliments are a really great way to meet people in passing because, you can just give someone a compliment and just, it's not, they can just say thank you. Like but it can also be like, because I've given this assignment to women clients before. I'll be like, okay, this week, every day I want you to find one man to give a compliment to and just give a compliment and just keep it walking, keep them moving. And 9 times out of 10, they will have at least one man who's like, wait, come back.
Don't and move. Stay from back here. I love that.
Because men don't get a lot of compliments. They don't get a lot of compliments. So as a woman, if you give a man a compliment, and I should also say, these compliments should not be, you're sexy, you're fine. No,
hey, boo.
Don't go there, because now you're jumping into the desirability and desired part, and you're skipping over the, like, okay, just the basic rapport of, what I'm saying?
I like your tie. Like
Because you're not hitting on this person.
right.
Because you could talk to them for 2 minutes and then be like, okay, well, bye. I'm done now. Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the goal is not to wait until you see somebody. You're like, oh my God, this person is so hot. And now it's just to normalize it. It's just moving through the world in that way. And then you make somebody's day. Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes just literally just looking somebody in the eye and saying hi is enough. To let somebody who know, because here's the other thing that women have to understand.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants the guy who has the swagger and he's going to come across the room and it doesn't matter that you're with 10 of your girlfriends. He's going to be like, you. I want you. Right. But the reality is that the kinds of guys who do that tend to be more players. Right. And to them, it's more a sport and it's fun and it's an ego boost and they enjoy that process of, oh, I got this girl to like me. Right. Yeah. And so you just have to understand that if that's what you are, that's the only thing you're available for, then that's the only thing you're available for.
That part.
Right. Versus a guy who is a good guy, who doesn't want to come across as a creep, who doesn't want to make you feel uncomfortable, who doesn't want to, like, that man needs a little bit, generally speaking, a little bit more of an invitation. Just an invitation doesn't mean like, hey, big boy. It just means like, hi, I said hi to you. So maybe you'd be like, okay, you know what? if I say something more, if I start a conversation with her, maybe she won't mind because she said hi, you know? So just simple things. And then, like, I don't know, go to dating events, ask your friends for setups, you know, like just start expanding your social circle, listen to your intuition. If there's this restaurant that you've been like, every time you go by it, you're like, I want to go to that restaurant one day, go to that restaurant. Maybe you're going to meet your boo there.
I have told y'all on the podcast before, I'm going to tell you again, and I'm not a paid sponsor of Del Frisco restaurant, but in any city where there's Del Frisco, you go sit at the bar. If you were looking to meet somebody, most of the time they are in a business center. Yeah. Guys like steak, guys like drinks, right? So I have seen lots of loving happen, and I don't know if it's loving him just for that day or loving forever, but I am telling you, it's a great place to start a conversation. And just to, if you're an extrovert, I just love to go in there and sitting and, you know, chatting up with people. So Del Frisco, at some point, you should just give me a meal based on this. Fanny, I knew this conversation was going to go by super quickly because I knew we were going to have fun talking about this stuff. I want to ask you, before we leave, 2 questions that I ask everybody. First is this. I call it stand by your brand. What is the authentic aspect of your personal brand that you will never compromise on? Oh,
I mean, I'll never compromise on it actually being a reflection of who I am. I mean, that's it. I mean, I could do a lot of things like, you know, like I don't look like a love coach.
You look for a love coach.
You know what I mean? Like if you ever go to my website and it's like, and this is no shade to anybody else, it's just not me. And if it's like fuchsia and flowers and hearts and, you know, I'm going to help you meet your Prince Charming. Yeah. The aliens have taken over. That is not me.
I've been kidnapped. The web designer took over.
That is not me. This is not my style. So yeah, just anything that's like, you know, because you could say, oh, and I've had so many people say to me, they're like, oh, you know, you should, because I mean, I'm wearing denim. So it's just, to me, this is a color because I love wearing black. You know, people be like, you know, you're a love coach. You should wear red. You should wear pink. You should wear color. And I'm like, I don't want to.
Right. I can wear what I want to wear.
You know, yeah.
So Branding Room Only is the name of the podcast, and it is a play on the term standing room only because I'm clever. And so tell me this, what is that unique aspect about you that would have a room with only standing room left in the room to experience about you? What's your magic?
The feedback that I get from people is that I help them to think of things in ways that they didn't think of them before. And even if it's something that's very obvious once I point it out, they're like, oh, how did I not notice that before? Like it was
right there in front of you.
It was just right there. I've had clients who they'll do like one session with me and they'll be like, I've been talking about this to my therapist for 10 years and why did
a breakthrough.
now I have a breakthrough. Like, what just happened? I'm like, I mean, this is what I do.
Yeah.
So I think, people come to me for that real like perspective shifting.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you think there's nothing more to do.
Yeah.
You think you've thought of it all and you haven't.
So tell the people how they can learn more about you. Do you work with both men and women? Where should they go to find out your deets, etc.? Tell me.
Yes. So I'm easy to find. Mm-hmm. I'm at Dear Franny on all the places. I have a podcast called Dear Franny, which I'm not currently recording any new episodes, but I've got lots of past episodes that people can check out. Mm-hmm. I do work with men and women. To be clear, I don't matchmake anymore because people need to learn how to be their own matchmakers, because learning how to be your own matchmaker it also teaches you how to be a good partner and how to choose the right partner and all of those good things. So I'm a coach. Yes. And I actually love working. I work mostly with women, but I also love working with men because they tend to just do whatever you tell them. No pushback. It's great.
Well, y'all, if you need a dating coach, or if you have a friend who does, and you know you do have a friend who does, tell them to reach out to Franny. Franny, it was wonderful having you in the podcast. Everybody, see you next time, and always stand by your brand. Bye. That's it for this episode. I appreciate you hanging out with me on Branding Room Only. Now, please do me a quick favor. Head over to ratethispodcast.com/branding so more people can join this conversation. And make sure to stop by paulaedgar.com/events to see what's next. Whether I'm live, online, or in person, I'd love to see you there. See you next time in the Branding Room. And until then, stand tall, shine bright, and always stand by your brand.